If you've been on the internet at all lately, you have probably seen this performance from the masked magician Eden Choi. It absolutely blew up on Britain's Got Talent. And it was just this incredible display of what looked like pure, impossible magic. But, behind every great illusion, there's an even greater secret. So let's unmask the magic. First, he just takes a bite of an apple, he drops it, and it just hangs there in the air, falling with this impossible slowness. And then, with his hands completely empty, thick smoke just starts pouring out from between his lips. And to top it all off, a single playing card floats in midair, gets crushed between his fingers, and instantly turns into a solid white rod. It honestly looked like a CGI special effect happening in real life. So, of course, the big question on everyone's mind is, how in the world did he do that? Well, let's find out. We're going to break down his entire act into 4 core illusions and reveal the really clever methods behind each and every one, step by step. Okay, let's start with that very first trick, the one that hooked everybody, the smoking, slow-motion apple. It's actually 2 completely different illusions working together perfectly. So, what we see as the audience is just this moment of pure wonder. But what's really going on involves a cleverly hidden vape and a classic piece of a magician's toolkit. This is where perception and reality really split. All right, so the secret to the smoke is surprisingly simple. There's a small vape device hidden right inside the prop apple. So when he brings it up to his mouth to take a bite, what he's actually doing is taking a very quick, hidden inhale. The way he holds the apple and positions his mouth just completely conceals it from the audience. And what about that slow motion fall? That's thanks to this little gadget, an invisible thread retractor reel. It's clipped inside his clothes with a nearly invisible thread attached to the apple. Now here's the genius part. The prop apple is actually heavier than what the reel's designed for, so it can't pull it back up. Instead, it just fights against the apple's weight, creating that constant tension that gives us that stunning slow fall effect. So clever. Okay, next up, he moves into this absolute flurry of pure sleight of hand and some really clever gimmicks. This is where you can see his years and years of practice and technical skill really come to life. That rapid-fire card production? It's not a trick in the way you might think. It's a well-known but incredibly difficult sleight of hand technique called perfect production. He's holding a hidden stack of cards and just producing them one at a time with a speed and precision that honestly takes thousands of hours to master. Now here is a brilliant little detail. The backs of these specific cards are skin-colored. That is not a style choice, it's a psychological trick. It makes that hidden packet of cards so much harder for our brains to even see against his hands, which allows for a much cleaner and way more magical effect. That ball trick is just a masterclass in misdirection, and it all comes down to one special gimmick. So he shows you a simple white ball, right? That's where all your focus is. But meanwhile, the complex gimmicked ball is palmed. The real magic is in the swap. It's a move so fluid and so natural, you don't even realize it happened. He reveals red, then with a tiny, almost invisible rotation, it's green. And then the multiplication that follows is just him peeling off these nested shells. It's just a perfect marriage of a clever prop and flawless execution. And now for the trick that left pretty much everyone speechless. The floating card that gets crushed and transforms into a solid rod. It's just one impossible moment after another. A card floats, it gets crushed, and then it becomes something else entirely. But the secret to all of it lies in one very, very clever prop that brings all these effects together. So, the secret is all in how this thing is built. It's not just a card, it's actually a rod that's white on one side and black on the other. A playing card is permanently attached to that black side, and there are special thread loops stitched right through the card for him to handle it. Every single piece here is essential. So it looks like him crushing a card is actually him inserting his fingers into those little thread loops. The transformation itself is a really fast 180-degree rotation of his palm. That one move hides the black side with the card attached and reveals the clean white side of the rod. It's just a perfectly executed optical illusion. For his grand finale, he performs a card trick that really seems to defy reality. I mean, it looks more like a digital effect than something that could happen in the real world. This effect is done using a very specific, highly engineered gimmick card called the Kajabra 2.
It has these tiny movable pips that are connected by invisible threads. So when he pulls a hidden tab, the pips physically slide into a new position, visually changing the card's value right there in front of your eyes.
And here is a fantastic little secret of stage magic. If you look really closely, the number 4 in the corner of the card doesn't actually change into a 9, but the effect is so fast and the audience is so far away that nobody ever notices. It's a perfect example of how magicians use the limits of our own perception against us. The final vanish is just as clever. That Cadabra 2 gimmick has a hidden flap. A really sharp jerk of his wrist breaks a little seal, and as the card spins, the flap opens up, turning the face of the card black. And since he's wearing a black shirt, a simple turn of the wrist makes it look like it just vanishes into thin air right as the confetti falls. You know, as the narrator in the source video says, behind this mask, only the truth remains. And the truth is, this performance isn't magic in, a supernatural sense. It is a breathtaking combination of classic techniques, modern gimmicks, and absolutely world-class showmanship. So that leaves us with one final question. Now that you've seen behind the curtain, is the magic gone? Or does knowing the incredible amount of skill and precision and the clever thinking that goes into it, does that make the performance even more magical? Maybe the real magic is in the artistry of the illusion itself.